Listen, that crackling storm of static is not interference. It is Jupiter itself, screaming across 2 billion kilometers of silent dark. For centuries, we called it our guardian. A giant wall of gravity, hurling killer rocks away before they ever reached us. We called it protection, but protection is the oldest lie the sky tells. Run the actual orbits, and the lie collapses. This planet flings as many killer rocks toward Earth as it ever deflects away. The protector was never protecting us. Welcome to the king that lies. From a distance, the great red spot looks like brushwork. One ochre wound painted onto Jupiter's shoulder, ancient, monstrous, unmoving. Juno flew close and found the wound running nearly 300 kilometers into the planet, deeper than any storm has the right to reach. Picture standing on a frozen lake that looks solid enough to walk across, until you notice the ice groaning under your own weight. That is the great red spot now. Since 2012, we have watched it shrink by roughly 580 miles every year, tightening like a noose around something that refuses to die quietly. Then, in 2024, a 1672 drawing surfaced showing a nearly identical storm, sitting at the same latitude that had already vanished once for over a century before this one ever appeared. The Great Red Spot may not be Jupiter's eternal eye. It may only be the second one, and nothing out here promises a third. What word fits a storm that outlives empires? But the calm brushstroke isn't the strangest thing on this planet. Wait until you see what's waiting at Jupiter's poles. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the shapes no meteorologist can explain. Turn the camera to Jupiter's poles and geometry takes over. Where chaos should reign, Juno found 9 wounds torn into the North Pole. 8 monstrous cyclones locked in an octagon around a 9th, never healing. Each one a wound wide enough to swallow a small country whole. At the South Pole, 5 more circle a 10th in a near-perfect pentagon. Winds inside them reach 220 miles an hour. Since 2018, not one of these 15 storms has merged, drifted apart, or died. 9 storms refuse to merge, refuse to die. It isn't decoration. It's a wall the planet built out of pure violence, and even now, no one can say why it holds. The storms are violence you can see. The worst violence you cannot. Jupiter's magnetic field is 20,000 times stronger than Earth's at its source. A massive, invisible fist wrapped around the entire planet, larger than the sun itself. Trapped inside it, radiation delivers a dose that would kill an unprotected person within minutes. If you stood where Juno flies, your body would fail before your mind understood why. To survive that gauntlet, Juno's most sensitive instruments were welded into a vault of titanium. And still, the one camera left outside it, JunoCam, began failing by its 55th orbit, its images dissolving into static. Can something this violent stay invisible forever? It keeps getting patched, heated back to life orbit after orbit, refusing to let the void win outright. That same invisible violence has a victim. The moon Io squeezed like a stress ball between Jupiter and its neighboring moons, in a gravitational grip precise enough to have a name. The Laplace resonance, a 4-2-1 rhythm, repeated every single orbit. The squeezing melts Io's interior, and the moon bleeds that heat through more than 400 active volcanoes, more than every other body in the solar system combined. Its largest, Loki Patera, is a gaping wound of molten rock, 200 kilometers across and still widening, that periodically flips its entire crust, tearing itself open again to keep from cooling. Fresh eruptions were caught here as recently as October 2023. Scars that had not existed on any earlier map. Io rebuilds itself before the wound can heal. It is not a world recovering from violence. It is a world Jupiter never lets stop bleeding. One moon over, the same crushing grip creates something entirely different. In January 2026, Juno's own instruments finally measured Europa's ice shell precisely. 29 kilometers of ice, armor thicker than anything human hands have ever pierced. Beneath it waits a massive global ocean holding more than twice the water in every ocean on Earth combined. In July 2026, we learned that salty ice at the surface may be heavy enough to sink and feed that ocean directly. Though a second study, the same month, found the cracks it would have to pass through freeze shut again within hours. Is the ocean already answering us back? We may never hear it directly, but two machines are already crossing the dark to listen. Europa Clipper arriving in 2030, and Europe's own JUICE arriving the year after. To protect that ocean, Jupiter has already demanded one sacrifice. In 2003, NASA drove its Galileo probe into Jupiter's clouds at 48 kilometers a second, a controlled, deliberate death. So the dead spacecraft could never drift into Europa and contaminate the very water it had discovered. Juno was built for the identical ending, but orbit after orbit, past Ganymede in 2021, past Europa in 2022, past Io in 2023 and 2024, the moon's own gravity quietly bent Juno's path until it no longer threatened Europa at all, and the planned plunge was cancelled. Juno escaped its own funeral. Now it faces two smaller deaths instead. Radiation, wearing its circuits down year after year, or a budget line reaching zero before the radiation finishes the job. As of this spring, it is still alive, still listening, still sending home pictures. No spacecraft has taken this close before. Every ending we plan for Jupiter is a question about us, what we're willing to risk, spend, or wait years for, with no guarantee of an answer in our lifetime. Jupiter does not care whether its last witness dies of radiation, neglect, or triumph. It has outlived every choice we've made about it, and it will outlive the next one too. But two more machines are already crossing that same silence to ask the question anyway, in a universe under no obligation to answer at all. Somewhere past Jupiter's clouds tonight, a machine smaller than the storms it has spent a decade photographing is still turning its scarred camera outward, watching for the two new arrivals that may finally learn whether the water beneath Europa's ice has been quietly, miraculously alive the whole time.